cool. Wow, this looks great. I painted this.
So, yeah. So you were... Tell me about when you started digging.
Okay. So I was digging, and it was really cool because I had already been under, like, there's a skeleton over here, like, just like the sides of its bones were coming out of the dirt. And I'm already, like, under it. I'm already, like, 10 feet below that. So I'm far into the ground. And then I'm seeing, like, worms and branches. But I just keep digging, and it's a tunnel. And it's almost like the digging part is gone. I'm not really digging. I'm just in this tunnel underground, and I get into the underworld. Like, and there's light at the top of... So I'm in this big place, and it seems so expansive, almost more than... Well, it did feel more than the field I was initially in, which is like mountains and blue sky and blah, blah, blah. But I was in this position where I was sitting, like, not like this, not this, just like hanging out in the grass. And I couldn't get beyond that image of me sitting in the grass, even though listening to you, I knew I was in the mountains with the sky. I knew it was expansive, but I was in kind of like myself in the grass. And then when I was in the underworld, it was like I saw all of it. And it was like two people sitting on a throne, you know, like in Greek myths or whatever. Who is it? Persephone and Hades or something like that. But it was also kind of more like King Trident, like from The Little Mermaid, but like not so... I don't know. It was just really cool. Like, people sitting on a throne, and they were beside me, but like everything, the perspective was like everything was so big. We were small. I didn't feel small. It was just like there was light coming down, and we were in this whole underworld. Like, it was underground, but it was so much bigger than being up top. Like, I just came out from this tunnel into this whole big wide world and felt very relaxed when I got there. And then you said, you know, you're still digging, and I was like frustrated because I'm like, I've already got to this place and I'm trying to relax and be like, you know, don't think about it, but I'm like, well, then I'm supposed to go down and like dig this thing because she says I have to dig this thing, you know. So I was getting mad at myself for feeling like that and feeling like someone's telling me what to do, and I already found this place, and I want to it's like I wanted to stay there, and someone told me I had to keep going in this other direction. But I did it anyways. I tried to, and like the digging thing, I didn't really get back in the dirt, but an object came into my hand, and it was a snail on a plate. And I was thinking, like, okay, even before you said, can you see that object? Like, it was just very like a snail. It was just appeared on a plate. And I think I was thinking, like, I think when I hear snail, I've resonated to it previously, kind of thinking like, okay, I just need to slow down. It's okay if I go my own pace. And now hearing myself talk, I'm like, I already got to some place that I wanted to be, but it's like, no, you gotta go do this other thing, you know. Like, the snail might be a symbol for me of pace, and that doesn't necessarily mean like slower or faster. It just means whatever pace is my pace, that's okay. Like,
so the snail was kind of like
presence. That's really good. Because even when you said, what is that object, then I felt myself get frustrated because I'm like, I already knew what the object was. It already came into focus. It was a snail. And now I'm like...
Oh, so because like there was more prompting around the what it was, then you're like questioning yourself.
Yes, and I'm like, it was when you said it the first time, and there was no like parameter. Like, there was, you gave me a prompt, and it was like, it's a snail. And then when you're like, can you see it? I was like getting mad because I'm like, I already said it was a snail. Which is like, that's now happened twice in my little experience, which is really cool to think about.
Yeah, you just like dropped into the clarity right away.
Yeah. Which is something I experienced.
That's really good because you didn't have too much judgment around it, and you didn't let me shape your experience. Which is like, I'm just the tool. Like, that's like, if you didn't already see it, I'm like still helping you see it.
Mm-hmm.
But like you had like the mental strength to like be like, yes, that's what I saw.
This is good, right? But this is where I get frustrated, is like, because you're so right. You're just helping as a tool, but I get so caught up in like, I already figured this out. You know what I mean? It's like I don't have to have this like anger, because what's coming up for me right now is like my relationship with my father. It's like almost like I'd figured something out and it was like already faster than what someone's trying to tell me, so I get mad because then I take this literally, when really it's like I had so much anger, but this person's just trying to help. And I couldn't see it that way because I'm like, I already figured it out. And it like, it put me in this box, even though it's like now how I'm learning how to receive information is like, take it, and it doesn't have to make me mad that I've already, because sometimes when I read books, I get frustrated because I'm like, I get excited about the stuff I'm reading, and then I read stuff that I already get, and it makes me like angry. I'm like, I don't want to read this. I already know this.
You want to take the shortcut.
Well, I don't know if it's.
You already get it.
Yeah, and it's like, it's something that there's like some
like,
deep.
Get to the point.
There's some deep wound in me that's like, wow, that's like exactly how my dad would be like, get to the point. And yet we were doing it to each other, because it's like I should just be able to listen and it not hurt me so much. Just like, yeah, you're saying like, let it. I don't have to have such a visceral response. Like, you're pissing me off. I already know it's a snail. You know, it's like, she's just. Wow. Yeah. What? Yeah.
That's really cool.
I don't have to be so angry from information. Like, and I just, this book that I read, I had a lot of ear problems as a kid. I had like tubes and just hearing problems and ear infections all the time. And this book is like telling me like what the spiritual meaning of kind of like your physical ailments are. And it said ear problems, like you have a problem with hearing, you have a problem with hearing, or like refusal to listen or trust what you hear. And it just really resonated with me, because it's like in having that issue, I also shut out a lot of good stuff.
Right.
So I just was like, it's like I wasn't able to kind of just accept what I want and not, I take it so literally because I'm so worried about like what you need me to do or something like that. Like, even though when I'm free to do whatever, when you just give me a little, I'm like, hey, look, I'm in the underworld now and this is cool and I don't want to go away from this. This is cool, you know, and then you're just prompting, but it's like, if it's not what I want, then I get angry. What does this mean? What does it all mean?
It just shows you what your preconceptions are when you're, like, for me, the stillness made me uncomfortable. Even though I'm the one creating it, I was like uncomfortable in my own stillness, but I had to relax into it. But I think that's like a great, like that, what you dug up is like a really valuable reflection of, you know, listening and maybe being able to observe that pattern beyond just like that one relationship that you have.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I have noticed that just meeting new people, being in a new place, you know, moving to Boulder. And I'm more aware of it, so it's easier for me to communicate that with people that I meet. I'm like, I get a little uncomfortable because I'm trying to listen and I'm kind of just like on edge a little bit when I first meet people, because I don't know how to kind of just like listen, even though I know I want to. Intellectually you can understand something, but the behavior isn't always there. Right. So it's like I'm trying to just listen and not be so affected either way. It's like I could just be open to hearing it and let whatever I need come in, or just listen to someone to hear them and understand them. And it's not so much about me. Right. And what you're saying means to me.
So that is like really interesting that you got a snail, because the snail's kind of like, it symbolizes slowness. And it always feels like other people are slow for you.
Curious.
Yeah. Was there anything else that popped up for you that was really strong?
I really liked being in the underworld, and I thought it's when I felt the most comfortable. The discovery of it and the peace I felt in it, like, it just felt really good. And when you said, is there a way both can exist, I was like, do they have to? I don't care if I even go back. Like, it was kind of just like, because maybe there's going to be something beyond the underworld that I find, like...
Yeah, was the underworld more interesting? Were you like, okay, screw that world?
Yeah, I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to go back. I was kind of like, this is cool. I don't need to know. And I was like, wherever is next seems to be like, it won't be either of these places. It'll be the next thing. So that was a cool experience for me.
So since I did guide you back to the valley, did that feel uncomfortable? Like, were you kind of like not really wanting to go back?
I was fighting it a little bit. Yeah. I was kind of like, it was the thing again where I'm like, I'm trying to be a good sport. You know, I want to be here and be so into what you're doing, like for you, you know, that I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Do I listen to her or do I do what I want to do? Like, it's this weird thing of like, I'm trying to experience this whole experience, you know? So then I was thinking, like, maybe there can be coexistence. Like, maybe that is a thing for me, that it's like, once it's done, it's done. And maybe it's like, it could come back in a different... I don't know, I can't remember if I went back, because then we started talking about colors, and I was like, kind of like trying not to think of a color, but be like, why can't you come up with a color? Why can't you see anything? Like, all this, you don't even know how to visualize stuff. Like, just relax, visualize stuff, you know? So I can't remember if I went back. But I liked thinking, initially, I liked being like, I don't need to. I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, like, you were telling me that you, like, they're traveling and moving from place to place.
Yeah, and it's almost like it's okay with me. And I think sometimes I want to make sure other people are okay with what I'm doing. And I think in my head it's for their sake. Like, making other people comfortable. But it's like, I need to get comfortable with not worrying about if other people are comfortable, and kind of just being like, I'm okay with moving forward, like, and leaving things behind and being like, I don't really miss it, or I don't really care, in like a, you know, in an easy way. Not like I don't care, I don't have feelings, which maybe I experienced earlier in my life. More just like, that was nice, and I fully, presence. I fully love this, and I like where I'm at here. I don't want to go back. I'm here now. Like, that part will come back when it needs to, or when it comes from moving forward. Like, I don't need to go back. I'm sorry, table.
It's really cool because your makeup is, like, perfectly matched with the paintings.
It's
like pink and blue.
It's so cool because I was going back and forth about if I wanted to wear makeup, because I was like, what would you do if you didn't think you were going to be on camera? Like, I just want to show up as myself, you know? And I'm realizing I'm fighting myself about this, and I'm like, I just want to be, because I'm so great when I just meet people, and it's just like when you posted that thing, I said yes, because it was like, in that moment, yes, and then it's like, okay, but now it's a week away, and who am I going to be in a week, and I'm going to have to show up, and I was like, do I wear makeup? Is that only because I think I might be on camera, or would I have done this anyway because I think it's fun? And she was wearing a dress in her picture, and it seems like a fun celebration. It was just this whole back and forth. My friend was like, he's like, you sound like a little boy that has to go to something, and he's like mad that he has to get ready for it. I'm like, you're right, because if I just went, it would be fine. But something about like having to like go to something, you know, whereas if I just saw you on the street, who knows, I might have green eyebrows just because it was that day that I did green eyebrows. So
that's cool how that worked out.
It is. So I'm just like, when he said that and I got in the car, I was like, you know what? It is going to be fine. Once I get out of this house and just like start going to it, then it always is fine.
Yeah.
it's just that kind of like.
Well, I didn't really tell you much of what to expect either.
Yeah. Well,
you were just like so willing right off the bat.
I know.
So like, okay.
I know. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, it is cool that I matched. These are gorgeous paintings. She paints them herself, and here's my makeup.
Yeah. No, that was good. I'm really happy with. I'm happy with what you're telling me from your experience. I think that's really cool. Sounds like you had some good reflections in there, and I think it's like you don't always have to like realize everything right away.
Right.
Because that's the integration.
Yes.
Like all of these. That's why like you don't judge. That's why you try not to judge.
Yes.
When they're all coming up, because it's like you can look at everything differently as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to have an answer.
Yeah, you said something like that was helpful for me, because I do have a tendency to think extremes, so that if it's not this huge visualization, I'm not doing it right, or like it's not enough, it's not a big enough realization, or like evoke whatever that word is. I can't say the other tense of that.
Evocation?
Yes. Yes, that one. Like, and you were like, it just whatever comes up, don't judge it. And also just the timing of things. I'm sometimes trying to figure it all out at once, and it's like, or even with pain, you know, I would get in these places like, how far am I gonna go? How much pain do I have to be in to be like, hey, I could get a massage. It doesn't have to be like my leg is broken. Like, I'd be like, yeah, but that's not really enough pain to help it. Like, it's not like I'm okay, it just hurts a little, or, you know, so I'm very much been on a pendulum of extremes, and I'm kind of like trying to get to this, like.
Oh yeah, that's funny, because I'm in my coaching, we were just talking about how I swing from extremes too.
Yeah, the cool thing is the awareness I have about it now. So I see it's not so much. It is, I'm kind of in this area, you know, but I see where it comes from, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. Now it's just all great, because it's all moving forward. The awareness is now like, oh, well, I'm going to that place, and it's okay that I'm not there yet, and it's okay that I haven't figured it all out, because just this morning I said to my acupuncturist, I was like, oh, I'm evolving and shifting every day. And I thought,